Hello! My name is Alex Horne from the Horne Section. That's my band. It's only me here today because I'm here in the Taskmaster house and they are not allowed here anymore. We're doing an AMA, Ask Me Anything. We asked you for questions. You sent in literally thousands. We don't have all the time in the world, so I'm going to rattle through it. I'm sorry if I don't get to your question, and I'm sorry for the quality of my answers. We have a TV show coming up on Channel 4. It's called the Horne Section TV show. This will hopefully be about that slightly. Starting with Sleepy Bean. Hello from Belarus, Alex. Hello to Belarus, Sleepy Bean. I couldn't come up with a better question, so here it is. Were there any other ideas for the band's name? Not that I'm against it, just out of curiosity. We're starting with a no. Sleepy Bean, there were no other ideas. It was always going to be the Horne Section. It works, although no one can remember it, which is a running theme of the sitcom. People think it's the Horne Selection. It's not, it's the Horne Section. So next one, this is quite long. From Runaway Turtle Train. Hi Alex, congratulations on a decade of Taskmaster and your forthcoming book. That's good. On the subject of the Horne Section TV show, I'll try to ask this in a non-spoilery way. The video for He's an Enigma, Mr. Paradox, had me in stitches. Great question so far. Whose idea was that, or do you remember how it came about? So in this one, we use parts of our body with faces on, including feet and chins. The chin idea has been done before. I think it was a Boddington's advert many years ago. But all ideas have been done before by someone. So I think it was Babs, the director, came up with nearly all the music videos ideas, but it was the makeup department on that one who really made our feet come alive. The band are very funny in this series. The outtakes we've seen so far, have they always been that way, or has working with comedians rubbed off on them? That sounds disgusting. Runaway Turtle Train. I think they've always been quite funny, but they've come out of their shell in the same way as I've come out of my musical shell, rubbing off on musicians. They've always been funny, but I think you're right. They're getting funnier, which is a worry. Bioluminescence says, hand gloves. Was that an incredibly niche typeface joke in Series 1, and can we expect other font jokes in Series 2? Are there very nerdy references you wish we'd spotted? I don't know what you're on about, Bioluminescence. You say it's a typeface joke. I've missed something, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm glad you read something into the show that we didn't deliberately put there. But I also feel foolish. You're going to have to get in touch again and tell me what I've missed. Both the Horne Section and Taskmaster are going to Glastonbury. I can imagine the band at Glastonbury, but what will Taskmaster be doing there? Don't know. We did some shows in America, Greg and I, so it'll be similar to that, where we hold court, answer questions, do tasks with the audience. We might get a special guest on. It'll be fun. It'll be hopefully chaotic. What's your concern? 8076 asks. As a newish fan of Taskmaster and a newer fan of the Horne Section, I've loved seeing the evolution of you throughout your work. I'm glad I've evolved. I'm also newer to British comedy, so I'm curious about personas. I know that the Horne Section is dramatic. There's a take on who you already are, but did you decide what side of yourself to show in Taskmaster, the Horne Section, your books, etc.? Well, I think, again, I might be getting more credit than I deserve. I don't really have many sides. I'm sort of nerdy and beta, but what I do in the Horne Section is I'm in charge slightly more of the men, but really, when you look at it, I'm not. So I think you just see me in both of them. I'm quite a simple soul. So yeah, there's not a lot of personas. I guess you see a slight more of a show-off of me in the Horne Section. I'm probably slightly more comfortable in the role of assistant. My favourite bit is accompanying Taskmaster contestants around the house and snitching on them. But I do love being the leader of a band, even though I'm not musical. J Murph 773. Between little Alex Horne and Chris Tovwitz's on Taskmaster and Alex Horne, band leader of the Horne Section, you play a few different exaggerated versions of yourself. A similar question, which is the most fun and why? I would say Chris Tovwitz's. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to watch the series with Sam Campbell and Julian Clary et al. That was most fun. So it was semi-acting, but still being myself. Acting in the sitcom was a stretch, but I did expect to get more work off the back of it, and I didn't. Any chance of the Horne Section cameo on Taskmaster? That's a good question. I think there's always a chance, because musical tasks are always fun, and they're my go-to guys because they're cheaper than everyone else. Southern Tale. Hello from Canada, Alex. Hello to Canada, Southern Tale. She says a nice thing, or he. I don't know what Southern Tale, or they. Anyway, said it was the first series was a perfect mix of glorious nonsense and sharp structure, like a Swiss watch reassembled by Ken Dodd. When you're writing, what comes first? The story structure, the songs, or a silly idea you just want to see happen on screen? Good questions. A little bit of a mix. The story comes first, but also I have a list of all the songs I want to go in the show, or at least the first ones. So I definitely try to crowbar them into some sort of narrative. But it's story, writing with jokes, then music. And then we start again because the producer and director see it and tell me it's not good enough. Alec is Drawing says, will the newest of the series of the Horne Section TV show be available anytime soon somewhere to stream for us non-UK fans? Great question. We're looking into this. The idea is yes, in a similar way to Taskmaster, but it's not confirmed yet. But I think that would be a good plan. Fingers crossed. Raven Clam. Hello Raven Clam, what are the differences and similarities between the songwriting process in a studio versus doing a songwriting session like we see on the TV? And when is the Horne Section touring the States? I'll answer that question first. We're really hoping to do something in America soon. We were hoping to do it around the launch of the sitcom, but we wanted to go on the chat shows and we weren't invited. It's too many of us. We've said we would pay for our own flights and everything. Still not invited. But hopefully next year for the States, because we're not doing a tour in the UK next year. The difference to the songwriting process in the studio. So in the sitcom, you see us in rehearsal state, just mucking about, and then doing stuff on the hoof. I guess the difference is when we're writing in the studio properly, the band go off separately into little pairs. Maybe I'll go with one of them, and we do stuff at home. Whereas this, when we're all together, we come up with stuff quicker, but it's less good. But it's not much different. I don't think that was a very good answer. Queen Quantum. This one is about the Horne Section TV show. Do you film live music performances as they happen, or are they recorded separately and synced? Great question. It's a nightmare, really, which I didn't expect. We record the live music performances as they happen, but then we need to get all the different angles. So we do several takes, but we also do a take which we might sync to as well. So it depends what works. But the music and sound department are amazing. I don't think you see any of us miming. We're always playing instruments, or they are. But yeah, it's a bit of everything. The singing's always... Oh no, sometimes the singing's mimed as well, but they will have just been sung on a previous take or in the studio. It's a mix. Queen Quantum. Great question. Crazy... Well, I don't know if you can say that word, but anyway, a question here saying, I know that Chinese 5 spice is a spice for you, but if you had to choose a spice from a different country, what would it be? Great question. Crazy. Not back into spice. Scottish spice? There's something that they put in their sausages I quite like. Red and purple. There's quite a lot of compliments in some of these. I'm going to miss them out, but I will occasionally say them because this is nice. I'm so glad that Series 2 is finally airing after the long wait. So am I. Are there any jokes in this series you have been eager to share with the world since filming? If so, could you share a hint that we could watch out for to try to catch it while viewing? Well, the opening of the very first episode is the biggest joke and the biggest surprise. But I don't want to give much of a hint, but it was a lot of fun to film. But that's the one I'm most excited to see go out. It's a big visual gag and we're very excited about it. That's all I'm going to say. Other than that, there's a joke involving someone whose name is Penny Whistle. Penny Whittle. Watch out for that joke. It's in episode 4. That's one of my favourites. Giraffe912. Who would win in a fight between the Horne Section? Each of you with your instruments to hand and a horde of 12 million angry ducks. Who would last the longest? The ducks would win. 12 million versus 6 people. I think it's just maths. Giraffe. Cube Droid. One of my favourite bits of yours is the you can leave your hat on parody. How on earth do you keep all that stuff in the giant hat during the dance? Well, Cube Droid, this is something we did on the Dave telly show 9 years ago, but thank you, we don't do it anymore because it was a bit of a nightmare to do. As your second question says, have you ever tripped or slipped on one of the props during that dance? Many times. It was a health and safety nightmare. I had many bags for everyone else. I came on wearing an enormous hat that was bigger than this table. It covered me, so you could just see my feet. And the band would sing, "You can leave your hat on." And I took a lot of things out of the hat. I dropped watermelons, fruit, sausages, etc. So I had a system inside the hat. Cube Droid, lots of bags, and it went wrong nearly every time. We Are the Tatas asks, how exactly does Grandaddy check the anus? He licks them all. Eerie Thimble. Hello Alex, I was wondering while watching the Horne Section TV show for the first time, what was the reason behind some people playing a version of themselves versus others playing an entirely separate character? This is a good question. So, the people who play themselves, Greg Davis, John Oliver, me, the band. The others, Tim Key, Tim Mahedran, Desiree, Birch, Georgia. They're playing other people. Tim Key's sort of in the middle because I do accuse him of looking like Tim Key a lot in the show. The thinking was, well, I guess it's that odd mix. It's a TV show about a TV show, in the same way as Curb Your Enthusiasm has the real people and then has actors. I guess it was similar to that. We couldn't have all real people because there needs to be some fiction to it. So Georgia Tennant had to play not Georgia Tennant because she's not a TV producer in real life. So yeah, some people were brought in to play characters and others, it was us interacting with real people in the show. So it was just the necessity of doing a show that blurs the line between fact and fiction. Okay, that's it for part one. There are too many questions to do just in one go, so I'll be back for more very soon. Goodbye.